So I feel like I'm about to teach the best information that I've ever learned ever in my life. And I really feel like I came across this information because I know how to start things, I know how to get things in motion, but I have a natural tendency to get shiny object syndrome and get distracted at points when I really need to go hard. Um, and after losing my company, after losing my social media, I felt like I was staring at an abyss of an ability to be whoever or whatever I wanted to be. Um, and I feel emotional talking about that because it was such a dark time. But um, it was such a vast abyss because I could pick anything. We're all very capable, we're all achievers, we're all able to do whatever we put our hearts to, but I didn't want to do anything that my whole body wasn't behind. I didn't want to do anything that wasn't completely aligned with who I was. And finding this has been such a gift because I've been learning it for about 2 years, but actually practically applying it, I didn't actually do that until September when I relaunched Liberty Photography. And when I say relaunched, it was at such a point where it had nearly died a death that I had probably 6 months where I didn't pay myself. It was just like, what's the point? And in November, and I'm telling you this to remind you that you can always pick up an old dream. But in November, I relaunched and I sold more that month than I had in 2 years, and it was my most successful launch ever for Liberty. Um, and I ran the enneagram on it, and it really, really kept me on track. I did exactly what I needed to at the last few points, and I genuinely believe if I hadn't found this system, I'd have got very distracted, I'd have dropped off, I'd have gone straight back to point one at the point where I was really meant to be in receivership, be in surrender. So I'm going to talk you through it all now, and this will be a class that probably you might need to listen back to. Um, you might need to listen back to it a few times. You might want to listen to it consciously with a pen and paper. And also anything that I say today that hits you, take a note of it. Um, but also you might want to listen to it and let your subconscious listen to it as well. So you might want to just have it playing in the background if you're cleaning or anything, or when you're falling asleep, just allowing your conscious mind to run through parts of this and your subconscious to also calibrate to this new information. The white line of will and point three, the shocks, and then we're going to end with some homework and Q&A. So we're going to start with drawing and drawing the enneagram. So I'm just going to tell you that this is all based on esoteric lore. So it's not based on psychology. It's not based on personality typing. It's been used for millennia to move through things. Nikola Tesla used it to use for every invention. He would always place where the 369 went on any plan, on anything he was mapping. And I'll explain a little bit more about that in a bit. But I feel so called to spiritual law over anything. And I think my dad's a physics teacher. And what I repeatedly see is not particularly moral people making a lot of money. And I am sick of it. And I want some moral people to make really big money. I want us to understand that from a manifestation perspective, the laws of the universe are not human. Gravity is not a human thing. It doesn't care about morals. It doesn't care about morality. It cares about movement, expansion, growth, innovation, resistance, magnetism. Morals are a human construct, and of course, we must stay moral while we build these things. Growth without the ethics attached to it is a recipe for disaster, and none of us ever need to worry about any of that because we're all very ethical people. But I think a lot of the time, when we are empathetic, when we are to really master time, Okay, so we're gonna label your enneagrams now. And next to number one, which actually we'll start with number nine. So number nine is the top of the triangle, and it's essentially the new vision. Okay, and it's also you can put in brackets neutral. Okay, number one, which is the next one around, is intention. Number two is labeled tools. Number three is passive or sacrifice. Number four is limitations. Number five is action. Number six is the will of the event or active. Number seven is presentation or celebration and or. And number eight is data and retention. Ideally, before you start anything, you have a vision of the next version of yourself. Am I sharing my screen? Yeah? Everyone got that? Okay, cool. Sorry. So ideally, before we start anything, we have the vision. We're like, I can see myself here, and I'm not here yet. I can see it, and it feels like it could be real. Okay, that vision will be energizing. It will feel like you've got all this energy in your tummy. Um, so point four, reality check or limitations. So I started in the June. Sorry, I'm storytelling a lot, but I started in the June, and by September, some people were like, "What are you going to do in the winter?" And I was like, "Just going to carry on." And I didn't have a studio, and at the time, everyone was in very white box studios. And although that created a limitation also creates style. So we're going to really go over that next week. But at the time, people weren't taking pictures of kids outdoors. They were all in studios. So my limitation of not having a studio created my style. Okay, this is really important. And we will go hard on this next week because I want you all to find your thing, your niche, and I want you to be so chuffed that you don't have loads of options. You have one option, and that thing is going to become your style. But we'll go through that. At point five, this is when you make or take the most action. So for me, looking back, it was when I really built a portfolio. I was taking photos all the time. This was when I was just go, go, go. And at this point, you create a real vortex around yourself because you're taking so much action and people can see you're excited, you're inspired, you're turned on, you're like, oh my God. This is when things come in and distract you. So someone will creep in and say, oh, I'd love you to work for me. And I got a job offer at point five and I turned it down. This is 14 years ago, but I remember getting this job offer. It was a set amount for a set amount every month. And I remember falling asleep, having this horrendous dream about this job, waking up and telling my husband at the time that I really didn't want it. And I was so scared to tell him because it was a set amount, like would have been just being champagne or celebration just being eating something or consuming something, but celebration actually being something that you feel in your body. So that might mean jumping, dancing, doing a little like, oh, it's fucking day, yeah. Like whatever that means, find your way to celebrate and that you anchor that thing that you have just done into your body. So you're like, oh, us, so you feel it because how many times and how many like cycles have we done a build and gone, oh yeah, we'll drink a glass of champagne or drink a bottle of wine. Your body doesn't give a fuck about the champagne or the wine. Your body wants to know that it just did something wonderful and miraculous, and you did it, and you see it, and you witness yourself, and you're proud of yourself. And just giving yourself that space to do that is the difference, genuinely, I believe, between getting burnout and not getting burnout. Okay, making your body feel safe and seen and heard and valued. How many times have we not felt valued in our life? And how many times we actually sit there and value ourselves, creating that like self-valuation of, yes, girl, I'm so fucking proud of you. And then point eight is the data. Okay. So you look at the data and you say, what went well? What sold the most? Which clients did I really like working with? What didn't sell? Why didn't it sell? Am I going to send all the people that said that they wanted it a message and say, hey, you didn't sign up? If you tell me why, I'm going to give you a £50 voucher in my shop, or I'm going to give you a free bonus thing that you can have, like recording or anything, because I want to know why you didn't buy. I want to, like, if I take a meal to someone and they're like, this fucking sucked, and I just walk away, them telling me why it sucked is gold. Breathe out the full amount that they breathed in. So say there's 20, some people will breathe out 20, but some people will breathe in 20 and only breathe out 5. So their body is metabolizing them. And these higher hydrogens, those people were like really successful, etc. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. Anyway, then I'm listening to this thing on Instagram the other day, and it was talking about how this woman used to manifest, and she used to manifest by breathing in gold, not actual gold. She was breathing in, like, imagining breathing in gold smoke, and then telling herself that all of her cells were gold and she was gold, and then breathing out gold into the world. Now, the set point in the middle, which is point 9, okay, but the point in the middle where it's neutral, it's not breathing in, it's not breathing out, that is the point where, according to the East, we can manifest, okay? We can see the vision because we're in that bit that creates the tension. And all of the best things in life are these invisible things that keep things together. So the poles on Earth is the neutral. The sperm and the egg, if we were going to look at the passive and the active, the neutral is the womb, yeah? It's the thing that pulls the thing together. When you've got a couple and you've got the man and the woman, the relationship is the thing that holds them together, and it's invisible, okay? But if you want to if you want to move into creating your next version of your life, what I want you to do is breathe in for 7, okay? I want you to imagine that you're breathing in gold. Hold it for 7, you fucking are gold, and then you breathe out into the world. Now, what I want you to imagine is that your life is like a spectrum where you have a whole rainbow that is in that state, okay? Don't force a time when you don't feel like that, okay? Don't make yourself work at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's a waste of your time and it's a waste of your boss's time or anyone else. Just don't do it, okay? Passive time is when you're learning something, when stuff's going in, you might be listening to a podcast, you might be listening to information, and it is energizing you. You're thinking, this is the best shit I've ever heard in my life. I'm so excited about this. Oh my God, I'm going to use this for my work. Oh my God, I'm going to use this in some way. Like, it lights a fire in you. Yeah. As much as possible, we are not consuming anything that is making our nervous system stress out. Okay. If it's the news, as much as possible, try and tune it out. Okay. There is a lot of shit going on in this world at the moment, and it is amazing to know it. But if it is fucking with your nervous system, don't do it. Don't do it, because if you can't do anything about it, it's not your space to you don't need to engage in that, you don't need to read it. You can have a bigger impact in your world if you, as much as possible, ignore it. And I know if stuff comes up on our social media feed, etc., but try not to engage, because the algorithm is fast at picking up on what we've spent a long time watching. Yeah. And I feel like we have to acknowledge that that's a privilege right now. So we're all going to acknowledge that we are very privileged that we can switch off to that right now. But I genuinely believe that we'll do more good in this world if our nervous system is not hijacked. So if you can watch it and you're like, fucking hell, that's 3 things. And it happens again and again in religion. So this story of the 3, it happens in Western religion, Eastern religion, the creator, the destroyer, the reconciling force. Like, this 3 is repeated, repeated repeatedly. And the active force, for example, the sperm, lightning, that kind of thing. And then the passive force is all about receiving, resistance, receptivity, response, um, you learning something new that shifts who you are and changes who you are as a person. And I don't know if you've ever learned stuff that you've been like, once I know this, I literally can't go back to who I was before. But it tends to be that at that passive force, that thing is burnt up and changed forever. The active force is the desire, the will, the action, and that could be like you deciding to launch a course. Yeah, the passive force might be that your audience. Like how your audience receives it, so your audience being the passive force, and then the neutralizing force would be the home that is built in, so it could be like YouTube or TikTok or wherever it is, but the home is the neutralizing force, yeah, the womb. And the neutralizing force is the reconciling element. So that is what gives you the space to be able to do it. If it's a relationship, it tends to be like the beliefs that hold the relationship together. So like a good relationship that can be held together because both people believe they're worthy of the love, whereas one that falls apart will be where one doesn't feel worthy or one self-sabotages because they have a whole set of frameworks that tell them to get out of there. Yeah. Delulu where you're like, I don't need to learn anything else. I just know everything. Like, if you knew everything, you would have already done it. So there's normally some education that you need around this point to move you into the next step. And it needs to be that, like, I'm learning this daily, or I'm doing this thing daily, or I'm moving to this thing being part of my routine, especially at point 3. Okay. But why magic? This bit really bursts the dream. So the mantra all the way along this line is I am. Okay, there's 3 magic mantras that we have used for millennia in our bodies. I am, I can, and I wish. Okay, along this line, we are using I am. I am, I am, I am. I am this person now. I am a photographer. I am a coach that, you know, makes millions of pounds accidentally, whatever you want to be. I am this. Yeah, I am. It's very similar to the sacred arm, yeah, but it does something in our solar plexus where we start to believe it. When we start to believe that we're something, we operate from a completely different operating system. Yeah. So even if you're not that now, you are. Okay. I am gold. What is it that we're going to be? I'm going to get you to put that in the comments. What are you? Give me your comments. I am what? I'm a successful breathwork coach and guide. Yes, you are, Molly. And also, when you start to say these things, like then start to tell yourself what successful means to you. Okay, so if we're going to put something on there, what does that mean? Because your subconscious needs to know and have something to anchor that. Yeah, because in this point, we're like, we want to bring everything down to the root. So it must I release or realize to show the system that I'm committed. This is a point 3 thing, yeah? So what ritual can I do? What ritual can I bring in to say I'm really committed to this? This is going to be like a daily thing or a weekly thing where I always do this thing at a certain time, or maybe it's not at a specific time, but that I am committed to this thing. It might be that you give something up. It might be that you bring something in. You might do both. You might have to do both. It must be realistic, but it must also feel a bit stretchier than where you are now. Yeah. I want you to go backwards over a enneagram, and I want you to complete a cycle. Now, by completing the cycle, this is only going to strengthen this plan that you've got in now. So I want you to go to point 7, and I want you to celebrate your entire work life if this is about work, love life if this is about love, but that you write your story. Now, there's a GPT for this, or I'm going to give you some journal prompts where you can literally just dump everything that's happened to you. And then if it is the GPT, you're going to say to it, now read me back this as if it's a hero's journey. Okay. And you're going to celebrate everything that you've been through. You're also going to grieve everything you've been through. So this, for me, healthy grief looks like going in nature and shouting at the universe, fuck you, this person, fuck you, that person, how fucking dare you have done this to me? You don't do it, you never direct healthy rage at another person, you don't direct it in the vicinity of another person. that's scary for them. It heightens their nervous system. It causes shame in your body. It's not worth it. Healthy anger is something where we take ourselves away and we process our internal